Ever get a work email at 9 p.m. and feel a jolt of panic, as if you've just been spotted by a predator? Or find yourself physically unable to stop eating chips, even though you know you have a perfectly good apple in the fridge? It's almost like our modern brains are running on some ancient, buggy software. Today, we're digging into the hilarious, and honestly, kind of inconvenient reasons why you're still running on caveman settings. Let's get right into it. Number 6, the stress response run amok. Imagine you're an early human, let's call you Oog, just vibing on the savannah. Suddenly, you hear a twig snap. A saber-toothed tiger emerges from the tall grass, looking at you like you're a free-range, gluten-free snack. Instantly, your brain's emergency broadcast system, the amygdala, hits the big red button. A chemical cocktail of adrenaline and cortisol floods your system. Your heart pounds, your muscles tense, your pupils dilate. This is the fight-or-flight response, and it's a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering designed to help you either punch a tiger in the face or run away very, very fast. Now fast forward 200,000 years. You're not Oog anymore. You're sitting on your couch and your phone buzzes. It's a notification. Your boss has scheduled a meeting for 8 a.m. tomorrow titled Quick Chat. The twig snaps. The tiger emerges. Your brain, bless its prehistoric heart, cannot tell the difference between a mortal threat and a vaguely worded meeting request. It hits the same big red button. Your heart starts pounding. Your palms get sweaty. You're flooded with the exact same stress hormones that Oog used to outrun a literal monster. But you can't run, you can't fight. You just have to sit there, marinating in a prehistoric panic sauce, while your body screams, "Tiger." Tiger, why are we not running from the tiger? This is the mismatch principle in action. Your body's alarm system is exquisitely calibrated for a world that no longer exists. It's like having a smoke detector that goes off every single time you boil water. Technically, it's detecting a change in the air, but the reaction is completely out of proportion. So the next time you feel a wave of anxiety because you can't find your keys, just take a deep breath and remind your amygdala that there is no tiger. The keys are probably just in your other jacket. Number 5 is the Sugar Scavenger. You've had a long day. You open the fridge, and it's a beautiful landscape of responsible choices. You've got kale, you've got Greek yogurt, you've got that one lonely carrot stick from last Tuesday. But none of it matters. Your eyes scan past this vibrant, healthy ecosystem and lock onto the one thing that truly calls to you: the leftover slice of birthday cake from your coworker's party. You know you shouldn't, but the pull is magnetic, almost primal. Well, that's because it is primal. For our hunter-gatherer ancestors, life was a constant search for calories. Most days were spent eating fibrous roots, tough leaves, and maybe some lean meat if the hunt went well. Finding something high in sugar or fat was like hitting the lottery. A beehive full of honey, a patch of ripe berries, that was a massive energy jackpot, a rare, life-sustaining treasure that could mean the difference between surviving a harsh winter and not. To make sure we'd prioritize these golden opportunities, evolution hardwired our brains to release a glorious surge of dopamine whenever we consumed sugar or fat. Dopamine is the good job chemical. It made our ancestors feel amazing, reinforcing the behavior and ensuring they'd seek out those precious calories again. The problem is, your brain hasn't gotten the memo that the famine is over. In the modern world, you don't have to risk your life fighting off bees for a taste of honey. You just have to walk to the corner store, which is essentially a cave of wonders filled with more sugar, salt, and fat than our ancestors would have seen in a lifetime. Your brain, still operating on its ancient find calories or die software, sees a bag of potato chips and thinks, "Jackpot, we're saved, we'll survive the winter for sure." It doesn't understand that the winter is never coming and that there are 10 more bags right there on the shelf. You're not weak for craving a donut over a salad. You're just a brilliant survivalist stuck in the wrong era. Number 4 is gossip, the original social network. Let's be honest, few things are as compelling as a juicy piece of information about someone you know. A friend leans in and whispers, "You are not going to believe what happened with Mark from accounting," and suddenly you're all ears. For centuries, we've been told that gossiping is a shallow, negative habit. But what if I told you it's one of the most important social skills that kept our species alive? Think back to Oog and his little tribe. Survival didn't just depend on finding food and avoiding tigers. It depended heavily on navigating complex social dynamics within a group of about 150 people. This is your entire world. You have to cooperate with these people to hunt, gather, and defend yourselves. In a high-stakes environment like that, information is power. Who's a reliable hunting partner? Who's lazy and never pulls their weight? Who's trustworthy enough to watch your kids? Who's secretly hoarding the best flint rocks? You couldn't just send out a customer satisfaction survey. The information was shared through grooming and conversation, in other words, gossip. It was the original peer review system. By sharing observations about others, our ancestors built a collective understanding of who to trust and who to avoid. It allowed them to form alliances, enforce social norms, and punish free riders, ensuring the group remained cohesive and strong. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar famously theorized that language itself may have evolved specifically to allow for more efficient gossiping. So, when you find yourself engrossed in a story about your coworker's questionable weekend choices, you're not just being petty. You're engaging in a deeply ingrained, 200,000-year-old survival mechanism. Your brain is simply running its social analytics software, trying to determine who in your modern-day tribe is a valuable ally and who is likely to steal your stapler. It's not drama, it's data collection. Number 3, our broken sleep cycle. It's 3 a.m., you're wide awake. You've been asleep for a few hours, but now your eyes are open, and your brain has decided it's the perfect time to review every embarrassing thing you've ever done, starting from the 3rd grade. You panic. I have to be up in 4 hours. Why can't I just sleep like a normal person? You toss, you turn, and you curse your faulty internal clock. But what if your clock isn't faulty? What if it's just old? For most of modern history, we've held up the solid 8 hours as the gold standard of sleep. But a growing body of evidence suggests this might be a modern invention. Historians and anthropologists have found compelling evidence that for much of human history, we practice something called biphasic, or segmented, sleep. Before the Industrial Revolution and the invention of cheap, powerful artificial light, people's lives were dictated by the sun. When darkness fell, you went to bed. You'd sleep for about 4 hours, then wake up for a period of 1 to 2 hours around midnight. This waking period, known as the watch, was a perfectly normal part of the night. People would relax, pray, read by candlelight, do quiet chores, or just lie in bed and think. Then they would go back down for a second sleep of another 4 hours or so. It was the bright, unrelenting glow of street lamps and light bulbs that essentially forced our sleep into one consolidated block, effectively destroying this natural rhythm. So when you wake up in the dark with a busy mind, you're not necessarily suffering from insomnia. You might just be experiencing an echo of a sleep pattern that was normal for our species for thousands of years. Your brain isn't broken. It's just an analog device trying to function in a digital world. It thinks this is the perfectly scheduled intermission, while you're freaking out because the show is supposed to run all night without a break. Number 2 is the negativity bias. Picture this: you give a presentation at work. 9 people tell you it was brilliant, insightful, and that you knocked it out of the park. But one person, your manager, says, "Great job, but maybe use a different font on slide 7 next time." Now, what do you spend the rest of the week thinking about? Is it the 9 glowing compliments? Of course not. It's the font, the stupid, stupid font. You lie awake at night, haunted by the ghost of Calibri. This isn't because you're an insecure weirdo. Well, maybe you are, but this specific quirk is because your brain is running on ancient safety software. It's called the negativity bias, and it's the tendency for our minds to pay more attention to and give more weight to negative experiences, information, and emotions over positive ones. For our ancestors on the savannah, this made perfect sense. Think of it this way: missing an opportunity, like not noticing a patch of edible berries, might lead to a hungry afternoon. But missing a threat, like not noticing the venomous snake hiding in the berry patch, would lead to, well, no more afternoons. Evolution favored the cautious and the paranoid. The brains that were hypersensitive to danger, threats, and criticism were the ones that survived to pass on their genes. Your brain evolved to be like Velcro for bad experiences and like Teflon for good ones. A compliment is nice, but it won't kill you if you ignore it. A criticism, a social rejection, or a potential danger, however, is logged by your brain as critical survival data. It's flagged with a big red, must review sticker and filed away for future reference. So when you can't stop replaying an insult or dwelling on a minor mistake, remember that you're not broken. Your brain is just doing its job as the world's most overzealous risk management consultant, trying to make sure you never, ever make the fatal mistake of choosing the wrong font again. And at number 1, we have tribalism in a global village. Have you ever felt an intense, almost illogical surge of loyalty for your favorite sports team? Or felt a genuine sense of camaraderie with someone just because they grew up in the same small town as you? On the flip side, have you ever felt an immediate, unexplainable distrust or annoyance toward fans of a rival team? This powerful us versus them impulse is perhaps the most influential and dangerous piece of caveman software we're all still running. For 99% of human history, we lived in small, tight-knit, competing groups. Your personal survival was inextricably linked to the survival of your tribe. You depended on your in-group for food, protection, and support. Strangers or outgroups were, by default, a potential threat. They were competition for scarce resources, they could carry diseases, or they could be hostile. As a result, our brains became incredibly good at one thing: instantly categorizing people, friend or foe, us or them. This ancient wiring is still powerfully active today. We are constantly, and often unconsciously, scanning for cues that tell us who is in our tribe. It can be something as significant as a shared nationality or religion, or as trivial as liking the same band or using the same brand of smartphone. When we find someone who belongs to our in-group, our brains release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. We feel trust and empathy. When we encounter someone from an out-group, our amygdala can light up, triggering suspicion and defensiveness. In the past, this was a life-saving shortcut. But today, this tribal hardware is trying to navigate a complex, globalized world of 8 billion people. It's why politics can feel like a blood sport, why online comment sections are a wasteland, and why people will argue to the death over whether a pineapple belongs on pizza. Your brain isn't seeing a disagreement about food. It's seeing a threat from a rival tribe. We're all just walking around with a Stone Age social app that desperately wants to sort everyone into 2 neat folders, when in reality, we're all stuck on this one big, messy, chaotic team. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.